Welcome, everybody. I'm Olivier Morel, the founder of Think and Think, and very pleased to host this session about a burning question: finding our purpose in life. To fill this session, I will be very pleased to welcome in a few seconds Satish, Kumar, the founder of Schumacher College, Tom Rippin, the founder of On Purpose, and a little later on, Caroline Sost, the founder of Living School. Finding a purpose in life. Finding our purpose in life. What a burning question. Actually, in our time, we amplified our quality of what? Our innovation power has definitely changed the way we make things. Our innovation process also improves the how we innovate. But for sure, it's also an important time to question the why. To explore this, I am very pleased to welcome Tom and Satish. Tom, Satish, welcome. Very pleased to connect with you from Paris to England.
Yes.
My first question may be for you, Satish, and then Tom. For the one who don't know you so well, could you share with us some particular period of time where you ask yourself, what is my purpose in my life? Could you describe your pilgrim adventure where this question was important for you?
Yes. Thank you, Olivier. It's very nice to be part of this big event at ChangeNOW. My purpose of life, I started when I was 18 years old. And there were attractions. People were saying, you have to get a big job and have lots of money. Purpose of your life is to have lots of money. Then some people said, purpose of life is to have power. You must go into politics and become a minister or a member of parliament. Some people say, no, the purpose of your life is to get big award, like a Nobel Prize or some big recognition. But all those things did not appeal to me. So I started to work not for myself, not for my money or my prestige or my power, but my purpose of life, I thought, was to serve others, humanity. And so how do I do it? At that time, when I was 20 years old, it was a Cold War. And the East and West against each other. So I said, how can I make peace in the world? And so I decided that I will go to 4 nuclear capitals of the world: Moscow, Paris, London, and Washington, D.C., and protest against the nuclear weapons and bring peace in the world. And peace and love are synonymous. Peace comes when there's love in our hearts. So I found my purpose of life in peace and love among people, peace and love with nature. So we have to make peace with our planet Earth. And so I walked to find the purpose of my life from India to Moscow, to Paris, to London, and to Washington, D.C. 8,000 miles, 13,000 kilometers, and without any money in my pocket, completely depending on the hospitality and generosity of the strangers. And I found that's how my purpose in life.
Thank you very much, Satish. We can discover your life in your book, You Are, Therefore I Am. Tom, actually, how you walk your talk. Satish was a pilgrim. He lived India and his ashram to go into this purpose journey. You come from a very innovative and consistent business background. How did you explore this question, finding your purpose in life?
Thank you, Olivier, and it's great to be here, and congratulations to the whole team at ChangeNOW for putting on this amazing event again and in such different circumstances as well. I maybe left my world in a different way than Satish did. I was in what Satish might have called a big job. I was a management consultant. I worked for McKinsey. But I knew that this wasn't really aligned with the values that I held, and that I wanted to try and discover and start uncovering my purpose in a better way. And I knew I wanted to leave, but I suffered something which I now call purpose paralysis, which is something that I see in many of the hundreds of people who have come through the programs that we run at On Purpose. And it is the fact that we have such a big choice about what we could do that we find it very difficult to choose what we want to focus on. And for me, there was a second issue around this time when I was wanting to leave my job, which was it felt like I was having to make a huge decision about what I would do for the rest of my life. But happily, there was someone who also gave me some generous advice. And there were two tips that I carry with me ever since. And that is, the first is that actually you only have to decide what you want to do for the next 2 to 3 years. That is plenty, that is enough to decide about. And that gave me a great sense of liberation. And the second one was that in order to find out what you really want to do, you need to go and, as he put it, hang out with some interesting people. This is not just an intellectual exercise. You can't decide this with a list of pros and cons and benefits and risks. This is about talking to people. This is about experiencing things. And as you do that, hopefully your direction of where you want to go will become clear. And for me, that is also partly what happened.
Thank you, Satish. Actually, this question of finding my purpose in life is a question, I guess, my father, my grandfather, a lot of people behind me ask to themselves, why for you, in 2021, this question is so important? Satish.
Because our civilization is so materialistic that we think that having a lot of possessions, big job, big salary, big house, some sort of prestige and power, that will make me happy. But the source of happiness in 2021, when we have seen that France and Europe and America and Japan, all these countries have a lot of money, a lot of economic growth, a lot of buildings and airports and trains and highways and so everything, infrastructure. And yet people are not happy. So now we have to see in 21st century, it's a new challenge. In the last century, the 20th century and the 19th century, this was the prevailing philosophy, prevailing culture, that having money, having more economic growth, more industry, more big cities, high living standard, that will make people happy. Now we are realizing that happiness does not come from material possessions. So the purpose of life, we have to find in something else. And that something else is our harmonious relationship with the natural world and our harmonious relationship with our human community. We have to think that the whole cosmos is our country and the whole earth is our home. And all life, nature, birds in the sky, animals in the forest, fish in the river, trees in the forest, they are all members of our family. Nature is our family. And then we have to embrace that love is our religion. Because we can call ourselves Christian, Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists, whatever. Those are the labels. But the real religion is religion of love. So for me, like gravity is the organizing principle of the universe. So gravity for me is love, because gravity attracts, gravity creates relationship, and gravity connects. So this connectivity and unity and understanding that we are all interdependent, that is the message of the 21st century. And our happiness comes in this realization that we have to live in harmony with nature, we have to live in harmony with other people, and we have to live in harmony with ourselves. When we can have that understanding, then material goods, money, house, all those things are okay. They are convenient. But the purpose of life and the happiness of life does not depend on material possessions. The purpose of life and the happiness of life depends on your harmonious relationship with yourself, with your fellow human beings, and with the natural world. That is the message of 21st century.
Thank you very much, Satish, for this common sense, this wise advice, and very actual also. Tom, you decided to launch a company to become an entrepreneur with on purpose. Why finding a purpose in life is so important today?
Well, thank you, Olivier, and amen, Satish. I'm not sure I can add very much to that, but I can maybe try and explain some similar concepts in a different way. I think this is really important right now because we are seeing not just a kind of crisis in people's individual purpose, but this is linked to a crisis in the purpose of the organizations and of our whole economy and how we run our society. And these are all linked. And as Satish says, they are historically have been based on a traditional worldview that has come into crisis. And in the same way that 85% of people feel disengaged at work with what they do, in the same way, the majority of our organizations, I think, are lost and don't really have a purpose. And it stems from the fact that the values that we operate with, individually and as organizations and as a society, stem from these kind of several hundred years of Western development. And we need to refresh those. And I think this is what Satish so eloquently summarizes in the one word of love. But there are other values. Now, historically, we think we have been driven by competition. We have been driven by consuming. We have been driven by materialism. That is not actually how the world works. We now, in the last 50 to 70 years, through systems thinking, have uncovered actually how the world really works. And it is about, what Satish talks about from a religious point of view and from love, we actually now also know from a scientific point of view. It is about connection. It is about interdependence. That is actually how the world works. And so I founded on purpose to try and create and help develop leaders who will make this kind of world, this kind of society, and these kind of organizations a reality.
Thank you, Tom. You will describe a little on purpose how on purpose works. Satish, you wanted to react.
No, I want to say I agree with Tom, and religious and scientific can come together. And so the scientific word is gravity, and the religious word is love. But gravity and love come together. This is why I'm bringing science and spirituality together. And I agree with Tom that it's not only a purpose of personal life, also we have to think of the purpose of nations. What is the purpose of France? What is the purpose of Germany and America and Japan and India and China? What is the purpose of national purpose? And national purpose should be well-being of all human beings and well-being of our natural world. At the moment, the purpose of all the countries are two. One, economic growth. That's the only purpose. Everybody believes that economic growth, economic growth, economic growth. The second purpose is power, military power, more weapons, more army, bigger army. I think all nations are becoming confused with the true purpose of life. And so the purpose of nations, purpose of business, purpose of industry, purpose of organizations, all should be well-being of humanity and happiness of humanity and well-being of our natural world. The animals, the forests, the rivers, the oceans, all should be looked after. If that is the purpose of France, if that is the purpose of America and Japan and China and India and Europe, then we will be creating a new civilization, an ecological civilization, a spiritual civilization, and not a materialistic civilization. That is my plea. And I agree with Tom.
Thank you, Satish. Maybe you can describe a little how the Schumacher College works. Both of you, as entrepreneurs, started innovative educational program. How Schumacher College works? What is the purpose of Schumacher College, Satish?
Yes. Now, Schumacher College is based in England, in Devon. You can look at our website. 30 years ago, I thought that the purpose of education is to train people to get a job and have a big ego. Educational system of Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Yale, Sorbonne, all these big universities was to maintain the market economy and prepare and engage young people to go and work in the industrial market economy. Now, that is what the 18th, 19th, 20th century. We are in the 21st century. And the 21st century needs a new kind of education. So I started, and we started Schumacher College in order to bring a new kind of education where it is the purpose of education is not just a personal success or personal glory or personal power or personal ego boosting, but how we can live in harmony with the natural world. So at Schumacher College, we are teaching about Gaia, Earth as a living organism. We are teaching about deep ecology, nature having the intrinsic value. We are teaching about holistic science, where everything is interconnected and everything is interrelated and everything is interdependent. This kind of holistic education. And the purpose of Schumacher College is to influence all the universities and make education as if people and planet matter. At the moment, education is for money matter, jobs matter. I want to change that. I want to make sure the education as if people matter, planet matter, nature matter. So education, I want to change the whole educational system. How do you do it? I started Schumacher College as an example, as an experiment, so that people can see that yes, you can create a new kind of education which is holistic, which is not egotistical. So we are moving from ego to eco. We are changing from G to C. So not egotistical education, but ecological education. That's the purpose of Schumacher College.
Thank you, Satish. Schumacher College is based in Totnes, the city where the movement of City in Transition started. You have partnership also in Belgium, Bhutan, Colombia, Brazil. Good friends also in France with Campus de la Transition. And if we can visit you for 3 days, 3 months, or 1 year with a master degree, you also launched more recently online program. So there is many ways to connect to Schumacher College today. Tom, what about On Purpose? How works your educational program, and what is the purpose of On Purpose?
Well, the purpose of On Purpose is to develop leaders who will bring about an economy that works for all. Maybe in the same way that Satish is wanting to influence universities to change what they do, we hope that the people who come through our program will change the organizations that are such an important part of the economy and of which so many of us are a part. You know, how does it in reality look like for an organization to contribute to the health, the wealth, the love, if you like, of society and of this world that we need to create together? We run a few different programs. Our main one is a 1-year full-time program called the Associate Program, which runs in London, Paris, and Berlin, aimed at people who want to transition careers and find a more meaningful career. But like Schumacher College, we have also started some online programs now. Our most recent one is called Pathfinder, which is for people who are exploring what we are talking about today, their personal purpose, and how they want to apply that to some of their big life and career decisions.
Thank you, Tom. I would like also to say thank you to Rima and all the On Purpose community who helped to co-design this session. And I have to witness also that many speakers at ChangeNOW have already went through On Purpose as a fellow. We are talking about the purpose, and maybe we can consider it as a destination. What is the link between purpose and values? How can I take care about the destination, but also to take care of the pathway leading to my purpose? Satish.
The purpose and value are very connected. When you have a right purpose in your life, then you can pursue values. And values are values of generosity, values of compassion, values of respect for each other. All those things, we try to bring those values together with purpose in Schumacher College. So, for example, our system of education is that everybody stay together as a community. The community is a value. And how do you make a community? You meditate together, you study together, you cook together, you garden together. So it's an education of head, education of heart, education of hands. Our modern educational system only educates the head, the brain. When a student comes to a university or a college, teachers and professors look at the student and they think that student has no body, only head. And they only teach the head, intellectual education. So the new values will bring the education of whole person, education of heart, education of relationship, education of kindness and compassion and love, and education of also hands. Those are values. We have to have dignity of labor. We have to have dignity that you are a farmer, you are a worker, you are a laborer, you are a grower in the garden, giving them respect and dignity. Those are the values. At the moment, our society thinks that if you are undeveloped or uneducated or backward, not very clever, then you go and work in the garden or work on a farm or make cheese or make some handiwork. But if you are intellectual, you are clever, you are advanced, you are educated, then you don't work. You go and sit in an office and in front of a computer and behind the desk, and that's it. So those are the wrong values in our society. So we are creating new values where we say dignity of labor. Everybody doing some work, producing food, making clothes, building house, all those manual work has as important value as thinking and writing books and so on. So as a writer and thinker, I'm also a gardener. I'm also a cook. And I work on the buildings and I do things with my hand. So that we are bringing in Schumacher College. Education of head, education of heart, education of hands. These are the new values, dignity of labor, and a respect for all living beings, and not having this hierarchy that if you are educated, then you are higher, if you are a farmer, laborer, not educated, then you are lower. This hierarchy must end if you want the new values in our purpose of life.
Thank you, Satish. The same question for you, Tom, before welcoming Caroline. What is the link between purpose and values? And how do you consider also all the movement of these companies where we want to take care of our employees, and also thanks to labels such as B Corp or Entreprise à Mission, mission-driven company, companies are trying to regenerate themselves?
Thank you, Olivier. Yes. For me, what comes first is really the kind of the values. You know, that is what our society, we as individuals are embedded in. That is our worldview. And for me, it is out of these values actually that a purpose can emerge at the individual level and at the organizational level as well. And the important thing about this purpose, I believe, is that it has to be about something beyond yourself. It has to be about something outside of yourself. In slightly more technical language, you have to self-transcend. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who lived through the Second World War, talked about the fact that you cannot self-actualize, you cannot fulfill yourself unless you go beyond yourself. It is in fact an oxymoron to say that you try to pursue happiness. Happiness can only end you from pursuing something that is beyond yourself. And the interesting thing then about organizations is to ask yourself, well, what does that mean as an organization to go beyond myself? And how do I create a purpose that is about something that is wider and bigger than myself? And for me, the important thing about all these exciting new innovations that are coming up, these new labels, is that we need to make sure that they are genuinely rooted in a different set of values. If they still are rooted in the old values that are from our paradigm, from our system of the last 100, 200 years, it will only ever be incremental change, and that change will not be big enough. It is only if we manage to root them in the values that Satish is talking about, and that actually modern science talks about as well. The two, like Satish says, the two are actually go together. Then we will be able to create a purpose for our organizations, for ourselves and our economy that is sufficiently different to be able to deal with the challenges of today. And that is what we need to do. That's what's so exciting about finding organizations that genuinely operate with different values. And they are actually all around us. If you look around ourselves, you see organizations that have chosen to operate in a deliberately different way. And those are the examples that we need to find, that we need to tend, that we need to amplify. If we see ourselves as gardeners, those are the ones that we need to tend to and water and provide the nutrients to. And that ultimately is what can bring about a genuinely healthy economy that can work for everyone on this world and can regenerate our planet at the same time.
Thank you, Tom and Satish. And actually, both for Schumacher College and On Purpose, we can see that very high talented people decide to change their mind, to change their career, and to go into companies, organizations with a better impact for society. To discuss more about high talented people, I will be very pleased to welcome Caroline Sost and to discover the work of Living School. Welcome, Caroline. Very happy to be with you. You are the founder of Living School. You are an Ashoka Fellow. Could you describe a little who you are and what is the purpose of Living School?
Very quickly, I asked myself some time ago, well, a long time ago now, what I could do in life because I was working in corporate environment and was not fulfilled. And following a training on ethical leadership, I really wanted to make a difference in the world and decided to change my life and to find purpose in my life. And I created Living School in 2007. Because I became really aware of the huge challenges we have to face as humanity, such as climate change, growing inequalities, the loss in biodiversity. So I really wanted to make a difference. And I felt like Satish shared that we really had to change education. We had to change the paradigm we have in education. We need to bring more love, more empathy. We need to bring more purpose. We need to bring more responsibility. And that's what we're doing at Living School, mainly focusing on three main aspects. The first one is what we call in French savoir-être, meaning how to be skills. Because like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. That means embody that change, be that change. And it's not only in the head, it has to be everywhere. So we focus really very much on being the change, on savoir-être, life skills, to help children being fulfilled and happy, and so that they can make a difference in the world. And we focus also on eco-citizenship, like Satish said, from ego to eco, like how can we make that difference in the world? And the children, they lead projects for the planet. So we're almost a little NGO where we do projects for the planet while we work on learning how to read, write, and count. But this has meaning, like they do this in order to change the world, and they learn that in a very joyful environment. And the last thing is that we are also a training center for adults, because as adults, we need to be a role model. We need to be inspiring. We need to be happy and fulfilled ourselves. Otherwise, we cannot really have children that are happy and fulfilled. So that's how it works at Living School.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Actually, your Living School is in Paris downtown, near Butte-Chaumont. It's a small school, growing, thriving. You started as a primary school, now it's a secondary school. But your capacity to grow is not just to grow for yourself. You are part of a network, an international web network with Ashoka Changemaker schools. So we can see that the educational programs are popping up and evolving all over the territories. if you evolve, you co-evolve also. You are working with kids. How kids, your children in school, interfere and nourished the evolution of your purpose at Living School?
Because they are unique. Like we have 100 kids from kindergarten to middle school, and everyone is unique. Everyone has a huge potential. Everyone is unique, and we, on a regular basis, we have children consults where they discuss what they want to do, like which project would they like to lead this coming year. And they bring their specific talents and unique talents to change the world. So they do it, like these are their ideas. So when they are very little, they're so concerned by nature, by the animals. They really want to help endangered species. So every year they save endangered species, such as this year it's giraffes, but it's been pandas or polar bears or whales or corals or whatever. Like they love to save animals. But when they grow bigger, step by step, they're more interested also by people, and they want to make a difference in people's life. And for example, they take care of the homeless people from the neighborhood. They want to make a difference for them, but they also want to plant trees. We've been planting more than 1,000 trees since the beginning. And so they're bringing their creativity, their unique talents, these are their projects, and we're just here to help them realize their projects. And it's even more this now that we welcome middle school students, because they are now really grown up and they want to really contribute with their unique personalities, and that's really fantastic. We love that.
Thank you very much, Caroline. And thank you also to name your reforestation program that you co-launched with Kinome and Nicolas
Yes.
Metro. Nicolas often invite me to find the tree in me, to be a baobab
Nice.
within me. You prepared with the kids a video. They have a message for us. It's a good way to connect to themselves, but also to connect maybe with my inner child, with the child in me. We discuss about outer transformation, and it goes hand in hand also with inner transformation. Let's listen to the kid.
So for me, to find the purpose in the life is to create a project that you like, something that you really like to do. You can help some people, you can reconnect you with nature.
Well, money is not the most important thing. What's important is to follow your dream. And you don't care about what people say. You do what you want.
What did you want to do when you were a child? What do you want to do now? Because you can save the planet.
We need to change now before it's too late for our generation. Our planet is so beautiful with all the nature and the biodiversity. I want to keep it that way. It's our only planet and our only help.
I wish one day the children ask what is a car instead of what is a polar bear.
Your job should be your passion and a means to change the world. We are all here to do our part.
Find purpose in your life. There is always something that you can do. How small?
Maybe you think you can't change the world, but you can. Everyone can do their bit.
And we all have a unique talent and a big potential. Be focused and you can do it now.
Let's act now.
You can make a difference.
We need to change our ways. Change now.
Thank you, the kids of Living School, and thank you also to all the inner child we take care inside of us. I'm very pleased to welcome back Caroline, Tom, and Satish. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you very much. On top of all the things you have to take care of at school, you invite these kids to offer us this friendly message. In this inner change, inner transformation journey. Satish, would you please to offer us a 3-4 minutes guided meditation in order to listen to this inner voice we all carry inside of us?
Okay, thank you. Let's bring our both palms together and bow to the planet Earth and to the cosmos, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the planets in this cosmos. And feel that you are a child of the stars and you are nourished by the sun and by the moon and by the planet Earth herself, our living Mother Earth, Gaia. And then breathe, feeling the unity, because all living beings are sustained by the same breath which you and I are breathing. Breathe, and then smile, then relax, then let go. And then bring your compassion from the depth of your heart to all living beings, all beings, animate and inanimate. And with that compassion, breathe deep. Breathe out and smile. Smile at the beauty and the generosity and the serenity of the cosmos, the universe, and relax. All will be well. Let go. Let go of desires, attachment, and breathe gratitude. Fill your heart with peace and gratitude and love. And say, thank you, sun. Thank you, moon. Thank you, stars. Thank you, forests. Thank you, rain. Thank you, whole planet Earth. We are all connected. We are all related. And let us celebrate the diversity which comes from the unity. And breathe unity deep through your whole body. And then smile in gratitude with the amazement of the earth, the glory of the earth. And then relax, let go of all possessiveness and desire to control. And breathe celebration, celebration of life, celebration of nature, celebration of all existence, beyond right and wrong, beyond good and bad, beyond all dualism. Breathe deep, celebrate and smile, and let go of all worries and all problems. Just act in the service of humanity. Breathe deep with action, service, action for service in your heart, and a smile, and you are ready to serve the humanity selflessly, without ego, without desire for achievement, but just service and offering of a song, offering of a poem. All our work is a song of the soul. All our actions are a poem from the heart. With that sense of unity of life, breathe, smile, relax, let go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Satish. Thank you, Caroline, Tom. I'm happy to go with you in the unknown. We have not so much prepared what could appear by now. And actually, it's part of the same those days, to go into the unknown. Caroline, Tom, Satish, to echo with this invitation of Satish, let go, let things go. What your inner voice wants to share.
Did you ask me to say something?
Please, Satish.
Yes. When we let go, then we are free. When we are holding on to something, we have a fear. We have fear of losing. So our journey of meditation is a journey to free ourselves from fear and embrace the freedom of love and compassion and unity. So we are talking about the purpose of life, purpose of nations, purpose of organizations, purpose of business, purpose of education. All purposes are in this letting go of fear. When our educational system teaches young people, this is education of fear, pedagogy of fear. And people come out of the university and say, how am I going to find a job? Who is going to employ me? Will I be successful? We are ridden with fear. So at Schumacher College, we say, go out in the world with freedom. Don't fear and don't look for a job. Create your own job. You don't have to go to Gallery Lafayette to buy the imagination. You don't have to go to Marks and Spencer in England to buy your courage. You are gifted with the imagination, with the courage, with love, with compassion. Enormous energy you have. You are a Gandhi. You are a Buddha. Think yourself as free to do whatever you want to do. And so this living school is a wonderful example where children are feeling free. I want them to grow free. So the meditation is to embrace that freedom from fear and live our life with the imagination, creativity, compassion, love, and service. And when we give, we get more and more. More we give, more we get. Love is rooted in reciprocity. And ego is me, me, me. I want this, I want this, I want this. Always me. But in love, we give and we receive, and we give and we receive. Reciprocity, mutuality. So these are the real purpose of life. When we have reciprocity, mutuality, and we act out of our imagination and our improvisation and our creativity and spontaneity, then we can live a good life. Nature is abundant. Nature is, sun is shining, the rain is coming, the fruit are growing. There's nothing shortage. We don't have to fear anything. No fear. That's the message.
Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Satish, for your energy and your wisdom. When you are listening to Satish, the kids, your own inner voice, Caroline, Tom, what is popping up?
Joy. Joy. I really feel that we should pay a lot more attention to joy, like what makes us joyful in life, and really follow that path. Because when we are joyful, it means that we're aligned. We're aligned with life. We're aligned with the universe. We're aligned, and we feel that we are part of a big unity, and that unity is humanity, is Earth. And so I would say, follow what makes you joyful, because then you're on the right path be happy and to contribute to a better world. And so trying to find joy in your life, and sometimes it takes time because we've been so trained to do what's expected from us and not listen to that inner voice. So sometimes it means also just accept that it takes time and take that time to go deeper in yourself to find what really, really brings you joy. Because I truly believe after these 14 years with children that we all have unique talents to bring to the world, and we are all a piece of a big puzzle, and if one piece is missing, then the whole thing is not complete.
Thank you, Caroline. For you, Tom?
Yes, thank you. I would say, letting go, we have a lot that we need to let go of, individually, as organizations, as societies. And I think we also need to learn how to do that. We need to learn to how to let go of these things with dignity, how to let them subside, that we don't just kill them off, that we don't just negate our past. So we need to learn to do that as individuals, and I think as societies and as organizations as well. And I think what can then also help us is to know the direction that you want to go in. You won't know the destination, but I think a purpose can help you give a direction. And realizing that we can set a direction that leads to a brighter future, that creates this joy that Caroline talks about. And that, will also help us with that letting go, that we don't need to fear the future. Actually, what we need to fear is carrying on in the same way as we do now. That is actually the big danger. What we have to look forward to, if we find the right direction, is a joyful and bright future that we can create together.
Thank you, Tom, Caroline, Satish. We are receiving some questions from the audience, and in particular from the On Purpose community. How, for you, to which extent I need to be concerned from outer world to find my personal purpose? When I'm looking at the world, I can feel a lot of mess around. How it could inspire or make me react, finding my personal purpose?
Yes. Problems in the world will always be there. Even at the time of the Buddha, there were problems. Even at the time of Jesus Christ, there were problems. Problems will always be there. So to find inner purpose in the world around us, which is full of problems, is to say that the problems are an opportunity for me to act. For Mahatma Gandhi, the problem of colonialism was to act and free India. For Simone de Beauvoir, it was an opportunity that women were oppressed. She wrote a book, The Second Sex. This was the opportunity for her to bring women's liberation. For Nelson Mandela, apartheid was an opportunity to fight against apartheid and free South Africa. For Martin Luther King, racism was an opportunity. So any problem is an opportunity. And that opportunity is take it and act to make the world a better place. So inner resolve of compassion, you are acting out of compassion. So we have to do three things at the same time. We have to do is to, what is wrong in society, we have to protest. But that is not enough. Protesting is not enough. We also have to protect what is good in society. Small farms, beauty, arts, culture, crafts, many good indigenous wisdom, all that has to be protected. So protest and protect. And then we have to do three things. Third thing, build new things, like the Living School, like Tom's organization, like Schumacher College. New things have to be built. And do it all with love. Only with love. No violence, no hatred, no anger, no fear. Just do it with love. So protest, protect, build with love. That's all you can do. You cannot do anything else. You are not in charge of the universe. You are not the dictator. You are a servant. So act out of service and not as a dictator. And so protest, protect, build with love. And that's all you can do, nothing more.
Thank you, Satish. Tom, with On Purpose program, how do you help your fellow to find this particular line between outer problem and inner purpose?
Well, I have two ideas on the outer problem, but then and then we need to talk about how do we bring this together with ourselves as individuals as well. And the two ideas on the outer problem is one, a quote from, I believe it is Hugh Price Hughes, who said, "Don't go to those who need you, go to those who need you most." So there is something about tackling what is really important, which I think the outer world, the state of the world, can help us, can tell us, and we can focus ourselves on. The second thing is, what I would say is, don't just try and make things a little bit better. Try and figure out what is good enough and what is going to be wonderful. A little bit better in our current times is not good enough. We need to think in more absolute terms. But the big caveat is we also need to bring that into harmony with who we are as people. And different people have different gifts, different people have different talents, different people have different responsibilities. And so it is the combination, it is the interplay of those outer challenges and my inner being, that is ultimately going to help me find my direction and my purpose and the path that I want to tread.
Thank you, Tom. Caroline, and I think, Tom, you also insisted on the fact that we are all unique and we have one unique talent to offer to the world. Caroline, how do you combine this singularity to a collective change? How can I be really true to myself, but also a servant contributor for a collective change?
This is really about cooperation. And this is what we're teaching at Living School, because in the ancient paradigm, it's really about competition. And here it's really about cooperation. And when you cooperate, everyone has a role to play, and everyone is different, and everyone needs to play his role in order to make the big thing happen. So that's really about cooperation. And also something I wanted to share about that thing like outer problems and inner purpose. I love the fact that we can have a big vision. Like we say at Living School, la tête dans les étoiles. Like you look at the stars and see the bigger vision you can see. And at the same time, you have les pieds bien sur terre, like the feet on the ground and step by step. And I love this idea that it's so important to have a huge and big vision, because that's how it can be fair, because then you have a global vision and you're not like shrinking on something really that wouldn't really give the best solution to the problem. So dream big and then move step by step. And I love this. And I feel also that it's so important in education to tell the children that they can create, that they're not here to learn and execute, but they're here to create, and they can bring their own creation or own creativity. And we need to foster on that creativity, because the challenges are so big. We will need to find solutions, and we'll need to be very creative. So I feel creativity is so important at school also, and we need to develop that so much. So I'd love to put a lot more emphasis on creativity in all schools, because there's such a need for that.
Thank you, Caroline. Tom, would you like to build on this question about personal talent, personal purpose, and collective action, or Satish?
Yes, personal and planetary are connected. Inner and outer cannot be separated. So every day we have to prepare ourselves inner world. So when I prepare myself inner, world, I begin the day with meditation. And that meditation is you close your eyes and go your inner world. The inner world is as vast as the universe. So you are preparing your inner world every morning. And then you go out in the world. So I would advise everybody to take time in the morning or in the evening, close your eyes and think about yourself. Who am I? What is the purpose of my life? What can I contribute to the world? With love and compassion and kindness. These are the values we have to bring. So I would say a meditation every morning will prepare your inner world. And then you go out in the daytime and work in the outer world. So inner and outer become one. There is no separation. And everything you are doing in the outer world is coming from your inner world with your love and compassion. This is why I emphasize you had a French Revolution of equality, liberty, and fraternity, but French Revolution is not yet complete. I think we need a new love revolution. That love revolution is inner and outer. When you love in your heart, a revolution in society, you bring two together. So there is no distinction or disconnection between the inner and the outer. The inner strength is a prerequisite for your outer action. Otherwise, outer action will frustrate you, disappoint you. So inner preparation is to prepare yourself for no expectation, just accept what is in the world and then try to transform as much as you can. This is inner and outer together.
Thank you, Satish. We have 3 minutes left to go together. Sometimes when I am looking at this question of purpose, I can consider it as just question for middle-age crisis or for people who have the time to raise this question for somehow an elite. What is your view on this, and how did you keep this question alive for you? Maybe Tom, then Caroline and Satish. Tom.
Sure. Well, purpose is a question for all of us individually, and importantly, all of us collectively as well. It is not just the preserve of the middle-aged or the preserve of the privileged. I think this relates to another question that I'm often asked, which is, do you have to have a purpose? Is it possible to live life without a purpose? And I like to talk about a concept from systems thinking, I believe it is from cybernetics, which is called POSIWID. The purpose of a system is what it does. No system has no purpose. Every system has a purpose. It may just not realize it. It is actually just what results from its actions. So even if we as individuals think we don't have a purpose, think about what it is you do. Think about what is the effect that you have on the world, on yourself and those around you. And that is actually what your purpose is. And then think about whether that is the right purpose or the purpose that you want to have and the legacy that you want to leave.
Thank you, Tom. Caroline.
I think you've heard the children. The children, they are very concerned that us adults, we find the purpose in our lives, because they know that if we find it, we may find a solution for their generation, because at their age, they cannot make decisions for the whole planet and for the whole humanity. So they truly trust us, and they want us to make that change. So, well, just listen to the children.
Thank you very much, Tom, Caroline. We will finish with you, Satish. I just want to say that the On Purpose program are open if you want to join it for September. Vous avez des journées portes ouvertes très prochainement à Living School. So if you want to visit Living School, it's possible in 10 days, I guess. And Satish, your last book, Comment j'ai appris la simplicité, has just been released a few weeks ago in French, so it will be also a manner to keep our conversation alive. But please, Satish, what is your view about this question of finding our purpose in life? Is it just for one moment in my life, or is it a question I can walk through all my life?
Yes, I mean, in one sentence, purpose of life is to love. That's all you have to do. The moment you love, everything happens. Truth is love. God is love. Life is love. Nature is love. Everything is dependent on love. So in one word, in one sentence, you can say the purpose of life is to love. Love a person, love your family, love your friends, love nature, love walking, love gardening, love singing, love dancing, love eating. Love, love, love. That's the answer. What is your question?
Thank you very much, Satish. Thank you very much, Caroline, Tom, all the On Purpose community. Thank you, ChangeNOW. Let's go with the flow and love.